Thank you, Chris. New at 5, 2 razor-thin races officially recounted in Saginaw Township. And as TV5's James Felton found out, one race changed by several dozen votes. He joins us with why. James?
We've learned the change in totals was most likely tied to some voters not following instructions.
We are very excited to be done with the recounts. Even though they're considered smaller elections, every recount is a massive undertaking for the county clerk, but also for the local clerk and the local township.
Saginaw County Clerk Vanessa Guerra talking about the official end of 2 races in Saginaw Township. After recounting all the ballots by hand, James Wickman maintained his victory over Stephen Gerhart for Township Treasurer, and Amaya Bradley's win over Connie Repune for trustee seat was confirmed. Her margin of victory increased from 13 votes to 42 votes.
People had used check marks or they had used an X instead of filling in the bubble completely, as the instructions tell you to do. And so when we looked at those, the machine would not have caught them, but it was very clear to the human eye that the voter's intent was to vote for that person using the check mark or using the X. So that made up a bulk of why there was an increase.
Bradley and Repune made news after Repune's husband, Saginaw County Commissioner Rich Spitzer, made a Facebook post about Bradley believing this woman, who has the same name, was the trustee-elect. It was not. The post drew outrage from many in the community and led to Spitzer being censured by the Board of Commissioners. As for the recount, Guerra gave us tips to make sure your ballot is filled out properly.
As long as the bubble itself is just completely darkened in, that's usually enough. So, some people, they'll darken in just kind of the outer rim of the circle and they leave the middle of the circle. And at times that could have been one that one of the election inspectors caught. I mean, as we see, it did change, but if you actually look at each precinct, the precinct itself didn't change dramatically. It just, when we hear 42, it sounds like a very big number, but that's broken up between 45 precincts. And so overwhelmingly, people did follow the instructions and complete their ballots correctly.
We did reach out to Repune and Bradley. Repune had no comment, and Bradley told us in a text that she is thankful that the recount is done. She looks forward to serving and thanks everyone for their support. Back to you.
Thank you, James. Spitzer will be censured until December 31st, the end of his current term.